We've been seeing the governor of Illinois parading out there saying that there's nothing wrong with Chicago. It's a great place to live. There's no crime there. He doesn't need President Trump's help. Well, I think the residents of Chicago beg to differ, and the statistics beg to differ.
Well, now the city is preparing for a potential National Guard presence and increase in federal immigration enforcement that could reportedly ramp up in the coming days. But the state's governor, J.B. Pritzker, has promised all week that he will fight back.
What we want most of all is for Donald Trump to help us to fight crime with civilian law enforcement. We'd love to have more ATF agents help us take guns off the streets. We'd love to have more FBI agents to help us to track down perpetrators of crime. But we don't welcome troops to the city of Chicago. We do not welcome troops to the state of Illinois.
So what should residents in Chicago expect? Former Chicago Superintendent Gary McCarthy joining us now. And Gary, you're the perfect person to sort of weigh in. Good morning. And tell us sort of where you see things in your reaction to this announcement that you could have this ramped up presence in Chicago soon.
Well, I got to tell you, I'm tired of listening to the politics. Let's get it straight. If they save one life by doing it, it's worth it. I wouldn't want, if I was superintendent, I would not want the National Guard or anybody else to come in and do my job. You know, one of the things that they're talking about right now is they have the lowest murder rate since 2014. That's when I was superintendent. And I was not satisfied with that because we still had more than 400 murders that year. So that's not a success. It took them 11 years to get back to it after I left my job. I would welcome the resources. I would figure out how to use them. And, you know, they're not going to be answering calls for service. They're not going to be doing street stops. They're not going to be doing car stops. But work out some sort of system. You do this, we do that. And the first thing that comes to mind is the fact that I've worked with the National Guard on a couple of different occasions, and they're good at things like perimeter security, closing streets. Put them on Michigan Avenue and stop the retail thefts. You put an armored car in front of a business, they're not going to drive a car through the front window and steal all the property inside. So I would figure out how to use them and let the police go and do the other things.
Hey, Gary, have you talked to friends that may still be active on the police force or even residents in Chicago about how they feel about this?
Oh, of course I have. And they all support anything that they could do. What's the harm in trying? The only thing that's stopping this is politics. And you know what? J.B. Pritzker doesn't live on the south side of Chicago, doesn't live on the west side of Chicago. I'm not sure he's ever been there. So, you know, he's responding politically, and he doesn't care because it's not going to be his son or daughter or wife or husband that gets killed.
Yeah, and I think if you spoke to I believe it's 254 murders this year that have happened in Chicago, the family and friends of those individuals would certainly say they welcome it. It's interesting, Gary, because I actually live in D.C. I've lived in D.C. for more than 3 decades. And, you know, what we're seeing, the crime crackdown there, it's actually working. And while the politicians and city leaders tout stats that are down, people know in D.C. that there's a crime problem, and they have been welcomed across political lines that they're getting this help, that it does feel safer, that there are more guns taken off the street and more people that are criminals being arrested. But the mayor, Muriel Bowser there, has kind of tried to walk a fine line between understanding she has to welcome the help, but not sure about the Guard troops. Here's what Mayor Bowser said. Listen.
We think that there's more accountability in the system, or at least perceived accountability in the system, that is driving down illegal behavior. What we know is not working is a break in trust. Having masked ICE agents in the community has not worked, and National Guards from other states has not been an efficient use of those resources.
So she's tried to sort of thread the needle there on both sides of the fence. But what's your read? What's your take on what you've seen transpire on what's happened in Washington?
Well, first, listen, I came up through the NYPD. I ran New York's crime strategy for 7 years. We know in policing how to do this. The only thing that's interfering with that is politics. We know how to do this. But there's two other things. First of all, nobody was complaining about the National Guard being here during the Democratic National Convention, which was only a few months ago, but I guess there was a different president, so I guess that's what mattered. And the second thing is, take the resources, work out a plan, figure out how to do it. I've spent my entire life, well, not my entire life, starting in 1981, trying to prevent people from being victims of crime, whether it's taking guns off the street, whether it's solving murders, stopping the next crime. And I'm just tired. I'm exhausted listening to the chatter between the politicians. Take the damn resources, get it done.
Yeah, that's such a strong message. I really appreciate your insights, as always. Gary McCarthy, former Chicago police superintendent. Well said. Have a great Labor Day weekend.
You too. Thank you.
Hey, it's Will Kane. Click here to subscribe to the Fox News channel on YouTube. It's the best way to get our latest interviews and highlights. And click to subscribe to the Will Kane podcast for full episodes right now.